lived life, and I counted that as coursework. And I counted that as something that I had that they didn't have. And so as opposed to, instead of looking at what I didn't have, and even now looking at what I don't have, lamenting the fact that I don't have the budget that Chris Nolan had for Oppenheimer. No one's ever going to give me that. It's just never going to happen. What do? Not make movies? No, I'm going to go make it how I have to, and it's still going to be in the world. So I think it's just about changing my perspective, and early on I was able to do that and not exist from a place of lack or absence, but to look at what I've got and just do it.
And it's such a beautiful reminder that it is never too late. It is never too late to start something new. It is never too late to go in the direction that you believe your heart is leading you into. That was Ava DuVernay. She's a multi-award-winning filmmaker, screenwriter, and producer. I mean, she's put together titles such as Selma, When They See Us, Queen Sugar, which was a personal favorite. The list is long, okay? You can go online and you'll find just some of the work that she has produced. But starting a whole career at 32 can feel daunting. I think to most of us it would be daunting. But look at where that has led her, right? Look at what she's been able to accomplish. That's why I'm saying it is never too late, especially if you're not happy. Right? Especially if you're not happy, you feel stuck, you feel uncreative, you're just going through the motions. That's a sign that maybe, just maybe, the koninto off. It's 11 after 9 o'clock, and I must say, the person who has been able to do that and is such a great inspiration is none other than our colleague Tulas Simelane, because that's exactly what he has done. That's exactly what he did. At the point that he became overly restless with what the future holds, and being dissatisfied, perhaps even to some extent, he started a law career from scratch. Went in, did first year, did second year, the whole shebang, all while having a full-time job, I'll have you know. And look at him today. So, Tulasizwe, we and I am ever so proud of you. It's been a pleasure working with you on the Talking Point. I've worked with Tulas Simelane now in 3 different places. Stop following me, Tulas. But it's such a pleasure working with you. You are not only a consummate professional, but I always have admired just his use of language. If Tulas writes a script for you, right, it doesn't even need to be edited. Just go with whatever it is he's given you. So it's been a pleasure working with you on SAFM for the last years, and I certainly am wishing you all of the best as you take on this new chapter. I know that you will do to the courts of this country what you have done with South Africans on the airwaves, which is win them over and fight for justice, because that's who you are at your core. So farewell, my brother. And I know it's just for SAFM. I'm sure Tulas is going to pop up elsewhere. And he still has his show on TV, right? So you'll still see him on SABC 404. He's not lost to the industry entirely just yet. Wait until somebody decides to make him a magistrate or a judge. Then we would have really lost him. But yeah, Tulas, all the best for the future. Okay, coming up on the show then for today, we're going to get into the open line, your national roundtable. I'll be taking your calls. The number to dial this morning is 086 000 2032. That's 086 000 2032 is the number to dial. And remember, you're more than welcome to raise any matter of national interest. And I guess also an opportunity for us to reflect on some of the events of the last week. On the WhatsApp voice note line, you can send those WhatsApp voice notes on 0614 104 107. That's 0614 104 107. Well, coming up in the second hour of the show, we're going to be looking at the story that concerns the repatriation of 63 Khoi and San people in the Northern Cape. And this was an event led by the President Cyril Ramaphosa. So a significant event and a significant process. We're going to be getting into the heart of it to really understand why these things matter. Because from time to time, we will see efforts that are being made, whether by families, whether by organizations that or individuals that have grouped themselves under organizations fighting for repatriation, whether it's of, freedom fighters, those that were in exile. Often we see it sort of happening with those outside of the country, but it's not just that. It's also what has happened within the borders of this country and the wrongs that need to be made right. So that's the conversation that we'll be having in the second hour of the show, and really understanding the significance of processes of repatriation and what it is that the plan and the agenda is, in as far as more repatriations that we're likely to see going into the future. And then, of course, today is a Friday, so we'll be getting into, when was the last time we had a Friday wind down? Oh my word, it has been months because of the Matlanga Commission. Of course, that is not a complaint, but I'm saying it has been a while. So we'll be getting into the Friday wind down for today, and I hope you look forward to our guest for the day.
Hey, this is Malay, and I'll be hanging out on the Friday Wind Down with Cathy Mohlahlana on Friday, 27th of March. You don't want to miss it. Tune in 104 to 107 FM nationwide.
Cathy Mohlahlana on SAFM.
SAFM supports a litter-free South Africa. Play your part in keeping our surroundings and environment clean. SAFM, leading the conversation.
Exciting news, South Africa. SABC TV Licenses has partnered with Capitec to make paying your TV license simple, affordable and accessible. If you're a Capitec client, sign into the app and click on Transact. Next, select Pay Bills, then click Pay At and enter your reference number to complete your payment. It's as easy as that. You'll receive instant SMS confirmation. Now you can keep your stories alive and your screens shining bright. TV licenses, pay yours, make a difference.
The soundtrack of your life with Ernest Pillay.
They were more than just songs. They were the backdrop to your best days and the ones that change everything. The soundtrack of your life with me, Ernest Pillay, brings you iconic classics and hidden gems that spoke to your heart then and still do now. Whether you're driving, relaxing, or just remembering, let the music take you right back. The soundtrack of your life with Ernest Pillay. It's about your past, your story, And it's all right here on your favorite station, Saturdays and Sundays, 1 to 4 p.m.
This is SAFM.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
It's 20 after 9 o'clock. Let's get straight into the National Roundtable. The number to dial this morning, 086 000 2032. That's for our studio line, 086 000 2032. And on the WhatsApp voice note line, 0614 104 107. Let me start in Midrand this morning. Ronald, good morning.
Good morning, Cathy and the listeners.
Yes, sir.
Cathy, I'm not particularly excited about the possible arrest of General Fani Masemola, and I'll tell you why. I think the bad boys now are having a fight-back strategy. I think more to it is the punishment that why did you let General Mohlahlana give a press briefing that changed a lot of things? Because during the time of these commissions, both the ad hoc committee and the Madanga commission, if the bad boys had anything against General Fani Masemola, anything, even an iota of evidence of wrongdoing, they should have dropped it by now. So you can't ordinarily say because you are the national commissioner, you should have overseen certain things. We have instances where people in the municipalities are being charged, but they don't ask a municipal manager and say, you are also being charged because you did not oversee what the other employee has done. People in various departments are charged and expelled, but you don't hear that the HOD must be the first to be summoned to explain himself why he did not foresaw or pick up such instances. So I think General Fani Masemola is a clean man. He's being punished. They just are waiting for General Mkhwanazi to make a small mistake, because this shows you where the president and the entire ANC stands. They stand with the bad boys and they are offended and they are fighting back.
Ronald?
This is a fight back. I can tell you.
Ronald?
Yeah.
I'm interested in this idea of yours of good boys and bad boys. Huh? That's an interesting narrative. Because when we listen to the evidence that was presented, and I'm thinking now the likes of Major General Shubiri, the likes of Sergeant Faninkosi, I have not gotten a sense of absolute distance between the National Commissioner and the likes of somebody like Cathy Mohlahlana. If you remember what Shibiri said about the engagement party that they attended at General Sibiya's house, that Masemola and the other generals were sitting at the same table as Cathy Mohlahlana. Is that inconsequential? Is that inconsequential? Sergeant Faninkosi says, as far as he knew, General Masemola had a good relationship with Cathy Mohlahlana. I'm just saying that good boys, bad boys, let's be careful about such distinct narratives that perhaps might not give an accurate reflection of what might be the real situation. I think it's very limiting. And I don't know about you, but do you know who the good boys and the bad boys are? I certainly don't.
Yeah. No, I know from the Madanga Commission, you know those who are the bad boys, and we know those who are trying. General Mkhwanazi is one of the good boys, and General Masemola. The bad boys, we all know them. And we also know that from the evidence and the press briefing of General Mkhwanazi, we also know that they also work with journalists. That's why you see the press coverage is a bit suspect and suspicious. Yes, there's evidence of some of the journalists even asking for 500 rand to change telephone numbers with these thugs and so forth and so on. So we know that.
But Ronald, was the news of the pending arrest of Commissioner Masemola, did that not come out last year already? Was it not in June last year that there was first news of him potentially being arrested?
I remember, but you see, the point is, there had always been that Paul O'Sullivan, who has always been irritating police commissioners who were appointed, a national commissioner who were appointed without his favor. So every time there's a national commissioner appointed without his favor, there will be some smear investigations, but it will not go far. If they had evidence, damning evidence against the national commissioner, I tell you, Cathy, will be watching it all over because they will never leave him.
Okay. Ronald, in Midrand?
Okay, thanks, Cathy.
Let's leave it there for this morning. I'm more skeptical now than ever when it comes to narratives of good boys and bad boys. I was reflecting with Tulas earlier this week, and he used a phrase, and I hope he doesn't mind my using it, because in this moment I can resonate with it. He said, you know, Kath, I feel like I have lost my innocence. What the last bit that was left is now gone, simply because of all of these revelations and unravelings. So I'm with Tulas on this one. Becky, you're in Bombela. Good morning.
Like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
Yeah.
If it's Cathy, this is the moment we love to hate and hate to love. When you have somebody who worked tirelessly like Tulas, and now he departs, it's a loss to you technically because he will still be with you on the TV side. But on our side, as attorneys, we open our hearts and we open our doors for him. We will nurture him and make him a better and the best attorney. Because all what we need to do is to put a brush on him so that he can shine as he's always shining. But having said that, Sis Cathy, if only wishes were horses, I would have written a harmonious letter to the SABC just to beg you or to beg them to afford you an opportunity to start at 6 until your last hour of 12 was whatever. We knew we enjoy. We knew we are cruising nicely. We knew we don't have got any doubts. The contribution that I wanted to make today, my big sister, is with regards to the witness, the suspect, what happened in a court of law. I'm a little bit puzzled by the magistrate, maybe the manner in which he handled the matter, because the accused said to the magistrate, I did not give instructions to this attorney. And we as attorneys, our primary duty is to obey the instructions of the client. You cannot appoint yourself. I was waiting maybe for the magistrate to find out publicly to the attorney, how did you lead yourself into this case if you're not given instructions by the accused himself? But it did not happen. I don't know if you're still with me.
You know, Becky, I must say, look, and firstly, I see that it runs with attorneys, and I'm sure it's, I don't want to make blanket statements, but you and Tulas on the same wavelength. I can hear, the poetry's weaved ever so effortlessly, right, in the communication. I'm sure Tulas would appreciate that greatly. But I want to agree with you on that strange court appearance, because it was incredibly bizarre to me. But there's also, and I don't want to read too much into situations, just there's a way in which the Thabo Bester matter and court appearances, I think there's a way in which it has influenced how other suspects interact and engage with court processes. And you see that in a multiplicity of ways. Do you understand where I'm going with this, Becky?
I understand you very
Because
well.
the minute when I saw what was happening in that court, I couldn't help but think about Thabo Bester. And it's been a number of times, because you saw even with the Cathy Mohlahlana court appearances, where there's something happening there, but you attorneys will be able to have better language to express it, because this is what you deal with on a day-to-day basis.
There is a phrase that all attorneys has to adhere to in a court of law, and it's a norm. It is standard. Cathy, you know, when you have to represent someone, the court will say you must place yourself on record, meaning that you have to confirm your appearance on behalf of that particular person, be it is an applicant, a respondent, an accused, or is a defendant or a plaintiff. You have to confirm your appearance. So now, I ask myself one question, that when the attorney appeared in court, how did he obtain the instructions? Because that is the starting point to say that I confirm my appearance on behalf of the accused person, so that the court can satisfy itself that you are indeed you are in court to represent the interest of that particular accused person.
Okay.
But that has been a serious conundrum.
Yeah, absolutely bizarre. Thanks for raising it, Becky. I saw it and I did think, what is going on here? So I'm really glad that you've put it on the National Roundtable. Okay, it's 9 o'clock. We're going to take the latest news headlines. And then on the other side of this, we continue with your open line.
Good morning. In the headlines, Deputy Minister of Correctional Services Linduwen Chalinchali has highlighted the challenge of overcrowding in the country's correctional centres during a debate in Parliament. She says the number of inmates is far more than the number of beds available. President Cyril Ramaphosa says he's consulting relevant stakeholders about the summons issued to the National Police Commissioner, General Fani Masemola. And a group of British MPs has warned that the country must rely less on the United States for security. I'll have details on these and other stories at 10.
There's a bold new rhythm on SABC2, and it starts Monday, 9 February, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. A new vodcast, Our Space, fires up conversation with young perspectives. At 4:30 p.m., a new talk show, Ain't Like Let's Connect, hosted by Penny Lebiane and Fran Rico. At 7:30 p.m., Deal or No Deal, now in a new time slot, Raising the Tension with Katlego Mabuwe. At 9 p.m., the new telenovela, Pimville, starring Gil Mabalane and Tapelo Mokoena, brings bold Soweto stories to life. From 23 February at 7 p.m, settle in for new drama, Paradise, starring Losha Cooper, Ilse Klink and Zayn Mias. This is the new era of SABC2. Live in every beat, the pulse of SA. SABC2.
Inklek Let's Connect is coming to you from the Montreux Jazz Festival in Franschhoek, the first time this iconic festival takes place on African soil. Join Penny Lebiane and Fran Rico for exclusive interviews, behind-the-scenes access and the festival experience. Watch Friday, the 27th of March at 4:30 p.m. on SABC2. Inklek Let's Connect. Be part of the moment. SABC2, you belong.
Hashtag SAFM Talking Point.
You're listening to The Talking Point. It's your national roundtable. I'm taking your calls on 086 000 2032. That's the number to dial for our studio line this morning, 086 000 2032. And on the WhatsApp voice note line, 0614 104 107. Mustafa, you're in East London. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Ms. Mohlahlana and your team and the listeners of FFM large. Yes, Ms. Mohlahlana, Ukombo, where I'm residing under Buffalo City Metro Municipality, we've got water issues. It's been ongoing. This issue has been ongoing for quite some time. So yeah, I don't know. I've exhausted all the avenues, from the mayor's office, premier's office, even public protector in my province. The investigating officer who was handling my matter, my complaint, she closed the file without resolving the matter sufficiently. So I don't know where to go.
What is the
Hence,
problem, Mustafa? What is the problem?
as we speak, Miss Mohlahlana, there's no water as we speak now. The water supply, there's no consistency in terms of the water supply. The water comes and goes. Then this issue has been occurring for quite some time right now. As I'm saying that there's many avenues that have exhausted, from local government, provincial government, even public protector, office of the protector in my province. The investigation officer, Ms. Nokolokos, who was handling my matter, she closed the file without finalizing on resolving the matter sufficiently. So I don't know where to go, but I believe that it's a variation of our rights are being deprived, because water is a basic human right. Because on a daily basis we utilize water in many things. So I just don't know what to do now.
When would you say the problem started, Mustafa?
It started late 2024 up until now. The water comes and goes. There's no consistency, as I said, with regard to the water supply. You find that when you open the tap, the water is there. Then you open the water is gone. No official statement or announcement, even from the municipality itself. I even approached the 2FM, your sister radio station in the province. Even Umhlobene, they are aware. They've been trying to invite the mayor, Mrs. Princess Fako. She does not come, so that she can account.
And how are you as residents getting water now?
We don't. We just buy water.
So the municipality is not even providing alternative water?
Not at all, Ms. Mohlahlana. Not at all. I mean, it's a basic human right. Sure. It's a violation of a basic human right. Because water, we can't live without water. We use medication, we drink water, we bath, we do everything. We use the loo, we do everything on a daily basis. But if you go to urban areas in East London, my mother is a domestic worker, by the way. In her household that she's working, the water is there all the time. But if you go to townships and villages, in black communities, there's a disruption of water. I've got all the proof. Yeah. I can even send to your producers.
Okay.
The people that's one
Mustafa,
I spoke to.
Yeah, Mustafa, let's do this. I'm going to put you through to Lebo. You can give him all those records and the communication. Yes. Yeah, we'll definitely put this on the list for Municipal Watch, because it's just, it's unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. And perhaps we can also get Mustafa in touch with the Human Rights Commission. Because, matters of water and investigations around those are things that they've dealt with before. But it's just, one doesn't know what it is that is required to get officials to do what they are supposed to do. It's not a favor. And sometimes one just gets the sense that those who are in office, who occupy some offices, especially at a local government level, feel that they are doing others a favor. It is not a favor. It is your duty. It is your responsibility. And if you are incapable of living up to it, then leave office. Make space for others who have that capacity. It is so upsetting that this is what the people of South Africa are subjected to. And you ask yourself, so when people wake up in the morning and they leave the house, say goodbye to their children and say, I'm going to work. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What have you done? Show us your work. What have you done? What have you done? Crispin in Durban, good morning.
Morning, Cathy, and your listeners. I'm thinking about the situation that we are being plunged into through no fault of our own. We're very vulnerable to the oil price. And we don't have a well-developed electrical vehicle sector and so on, and that's just the way it is. But there are things the government could do to ease the situation, and one of them is actually to increase the role of the taxi industry and try and get people to use taxis rather than private vehicles, because that's just so much more fuel efficient and would reduce our imports of oil. But to do that, there's got to be a once-off deal with the taxi industry that regulates it, that brings it under every form of regulation. Greater safety for passengers, greater compliance with traffic laws, greater compliance with taxation, compliance with employment, because these taxi owners are not paying things like UIF, and generally to bring it into the mainstream, make it a regular part of the economy. It is actually a vital part of our economic structure, but it is violent and it's uncontrolled and unregulated. And this is an area where the dangers of unregulation are so obvious to everyone in terms of the incredible cost on people's lives. So I'd like to see that kind of deal going ahead now.
But Crispin, do you think the taxi industry wants to be regulated beyond what it has to be right now? So beyond the permits, the route permissions, etc. Do you think that there's a genuine appetite to?
No,
yeah.
I don't think there's an appetite, but I think there needs to be incentives, obviously, and that might be concessions for the fuel industry, reduction in levy for taxis, for example. There's still no subsidy system that there is for bus companies, and that's because of the intransigence of the taxi industry. So I think it has to be a carrot and stick approach. But they would benefit. I mean, the one thing is, if you're a taxi owner, you are constantly feeling unsafe because it is such a violent industry. And that I think we've got to have clarity on permits, on routes. Taxi associations should not be allowed to become fiefdoms under the control of certain politically connected individuals. This must stop. But there must be incentives at the same time.
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, we do need reliable public transport that all South Africans can use and feel safe in. And the convenience also of it is an opportunity cost, right? Because if you go to other parts of the world and you see how well integrated their transport systems are, they don't even have to think about buying a car because, well, I can get to where I need to get to quick, safe. That's all that people need.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
all right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks.
Crispin. Okay. That's one thought. Would you be willing to get into a taxi if you felt that there was sufficient regulation? Is that something that you would consider? Would you give up your car? I guess is a question. If you have a car, would you give up your car for a taxi? I'm one of those people who if I could give up my car, I would. If there was convenient public transport, I would be more than happy to do it. More than happy, because there are much better things I'd rather be spending my money on than owning a car. But this is what we're subjected to, right? Unfortunately. Super, you're in Mpumalanga. Good morning.
Yes, Cathy, how are you? Good morning, and the listeners, and you, the team.
Yes, Super, good morning.
Morning. Firstly, I just want to say I'm heartbroken about the leaving of Mr. Mohlahlana, because I knew it this morning, and I'm a SAFM listener. So, yeah, just Cathy, just pass this message to Tulas Mohlahlana that I said all of the best wherever he's going, and you, the team, SAFM is the best. according to me, because I'm listening to SFM the day and night. So keep
Thank
it up,
you.
guys.
Thank you,
Yes.
Super. We appreciate that. And yes,
Yeah, I've got only
losing
one.
Tulas is a great loss for the station.
Yeah, no, we have. It's going to be hard. You know, every day you listening to him, his voice, the byways and the highways, all those stuff. But anyway, in the yeah, I just want to touch this point, Cathy. You see now, what is Mr. Mkhwanazi has made us to know things that we didn't know. But I'm looking at a point where it's only on the national level. What about the municipalities? I think something must be done on the locals. It's where the service delivery must be done. And then we tend to overlook the locals. There's also a lot of corruption. So I'm starting to think, when are locals going to be investigated? That's the first question that I'm asking. When are people going to account? As you said now, what did you do? We elect leaders that doesn't have vision, they doesn't have a plan. They are just leaders there. You know, Cathy, I'm staying in Leidenberg in Mpumalanga. It's so hurting to see that township. The township is growing, but the town doesn't grow at all. And we are busy electing leaders. We don't even have a near mall. This town has been there before Nelspruit. Even people of Beggarsport, they were buying things there. They say Riamakuwe. They were going to Leidenberg. The guys, the taxi owners, they even build a taxi rank within cuckoos. They take corrugated irons and the irons, they build the taxi rank by themselves. What kind of leaders do we have?
Sure.
What kind of leaders do we have? I think if we can look at the history of Leidenberg has been long. It should have developed more than any town. We elect leaders. Now, as we have said now, we can ask whoever has been elected and as a leader. If I can tell you, even now the community doesn't know. They were supposed to build the mall. But you don't know that we never had any feedback what happened to the mall. A mere mall. There's no mall in Leidenberg. It's just a small and complex. And the population is growing. When you go into the location, driving to the location, it's just a queue of cars. There's no alternative roads.
Sure.
Only one road that you can take. It's so bad. It's so bad. So the thing is, my question is, how are they going to investigate the locals? Because I think there's corruption. That's why people cannot deliver. There's corruption, obviously. They can't say they cannot. You know, you drive with our leaders. They drive on the potholes, but they are potholes. They are driving to the location. But he doesn't think the pothole the pothole that I'm passing here. Why ain't I fix it? Why must not be fixed?
Super. Let's leave it there. Thanks for that contribution. And you know, this idea of having an inquiry into local government, just look at what has come out of Matlanga, linked to Tshwane, linked to Ekurhuleni. Because if we are to extract the patterns of corrupt behavior, the patterns of these networks and how they flow, it gives us a reasonable explanation of why things are the way they are in some of our municipalities. Yes, it's not all, but certainly for a significant number of them. What would we uncover if each municipality had to have an inquiry, look into its affairs? But then again, the Auditor General does that, right? And she's been doing it for years, and others before her. And what has government done with those findings? How have those findings been used to improve local government? Because sometimes we might be looking for what we already know, what we have in front of us. The question is, where is the will to change it? Let's take a quick break. We'll take more of your calls after this.
Saturday afternoons in Mzansi, where loyalty is tested every single week. Manchester United fans still believing. Liverpool fans reminding you about history. Chelsea fans saying trust the process. City fans pretending this is all normal. Arsenal fans still shouting out, we are winning it this year. Every year, mate. But that's love. Through the wins, the heartbreak, the long rebuilds. The English Premier League, where we suffer together, celebrate together, and never stop believing. EPL, Saturdays at 4:30 p.m. on S3. Open up.
SAFM Music. Good times, good memories.
I'm just like somebody.
Old school sounding so good. SAFM Music with you wherever you go. The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays 9 a.m. till midday.
In Parktown North, it says Vuyiswa, good morning.
Okay, how are you?
Good. What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about two things. One is the for G7 issue that our president has been disinvited. For me, I think it must come into our heads. There is no way, the white world will ever be respectful to any African leader or Africans. So for me, I think we have to get to the phrase in Sotho, I think it's a blessing in disguise. And we were not even part of the members of G7, so there's nothing to cry for.
Because look, I saw the statements. Sorry, Vuyiswa. I saw the statements. Sort of out of government responding to that, and it's very diplomatic, but also it emphasizes what you're saying, that there's nothing lost. But I did feel a sense of betrayal when I saw it, because Macron was prancing around G20 pictures. He was one of the most excited people to be in South Africa.
No, but your excitement must also go with introspection, because at the end of the day, you can try and pretend or think that you are better. You're not. Not to the white world. And some of us who grew up in those lands, we know exactly what it means for you as a black person, and you have to think that you are not accepted fully.
Okay.
So there's nothing to cry about. We just need to carry on with our life. And the president must actually carry on with his mandate of the people of South Africa. Forget about this G7 and what have you, G20 phenomena, because they are not working for us.
Okay.
So for me, I was like, wow, this is good. It's the inconsistency and the dishonest of the white world that we must learn from there. That they are not sincere at all. And the second thing I wanted to talk about is this Igwe story. You know what? I don't know what Nigerians are doing, because I know of a strip between them and Cameroon that they went there and ended up, they like invaded it, because they are there, and it's like you get confused when you crossing from to Maiduguri. From not Maiduguri to Garwa Marwa, Cameroon, on your way to Yaoundé. You get confused whether you're in Nigeria or you're in Cameroon. So such kind of a situation must be, or condition must be really prevented. Again, I don't know where they come from, because where your umbilical cord is, that's where you are in Igwe. Because there are certain rituals like us, Makosa and Yamanguni and everybody else. The crawl is a very important place, Isbaya. There's a lot of rituals that goes on there. You can't just go to anybody's space and start, coronating a king or a guy. And a guy is a chief. So they really need to go back and wherever they are, sit down and to themselves because they are a problem worldwide. You get to Cote d'Ivoire, they don't want them. Senegal, they don't want them. What is wrong with these people?
Yeah, okay, Vuyiswa. Let's keep it in the ambit of what our mandate also is. Let's just be careful. Understand the point that you make, but I don't think that it's necessarily fair comment to say that wherever Nigerians go, they are not wanted. I don't think that that's true. Let me go to Butinkoni. You are in Indwe. Good morning.
Nkonki, not Ngoni.
Oh, Butinkonki. Oh, hello, Buti. Apologies. There was a typo there.
William Shakespeare once wrote in his book Macbeth, "There's no art to find man's construction through the face." Shakespeare was correct in so saying. You can't judge a person by looking at his face, really. Why people believe that Masemula shouldn't go to court? They are not the spokesperson or a lawyer of Masemula. They must just allow the processes to proceed. I have my confidence in him. I don't want to come and defend him on national radio or whatever, but his time in court will tell us the true story. That's what makes me lift up when people come to defend people without having much information. You took the last list now head on, and I was happy with your understanding. Really, if we don't have anything to say to you, don't just call and say things that you don't really know. That's why we have courts in this country. Cathy, thanks. Have a nice day.
All right, Butinkonki, short and clear. Yes, let us give the courts an opportunity to ventilate the matter. But it's also important that this does not turn out to be a frivolous matter that is going to be thrown out at first instance. Because if it is, it'll only further undermine the work that is being done by the prosecutorial bodies. So it is so important. And one really hopes that people are aware of the gravity of the moment. Otherwise, it only throws our leadership, it only throws the matter of leadership in the police, within the criminal justice system, into further disarray. This country cannot be held ransom to the fighting, to the factionalism that is within the actors in the criminal justice system. It just cannot be. And we must resist that with the contempt it deserves. Muvango, you're in Limpopo. Good morning.
Good morning, my sister. I want to be very short and perhaps to qualify what I want to say first, that this year I told myself that I'm not going to be cross, but it's March and I've been already made to be very cross. It hurts me. Remember, the year is still very, very long, and I've already violated my, my resolution.
So Muvango, you've moved from mad, in January, Feb, and now you are at the point of being cross, because it sounds like you've gone through different degrees of being upset.
Yeah, but I told myself that I'm not going to be upset this year because I've been very, very upset for I don't know how long. And,
what's upsetting you? What's wrong?
Now, you see, there is this thing called, let me not sound insulting. There is this, should I call it a company or an organization called CIPPC for companies that regulates companies. We pay money every year for our companies to be active. It is 100 rand. So when you pay that 100 rand, in my own thinking, I thought I've paid, I've been given a receipt, everything is hunky dory. No, it doesn't work that way. There is another body in between that you must contact to tell them that you have paid, and take a picture and send them that picture. And so that they take that information and they take it to the CIPC to update the company. If you don't do that, the company is deregistered. And for the company to be registered, you pay a lot of money. Does it make sense? Why can't when I pay at the bank, the money goes straight to the CIP? Why this middle person? And why should I pay a lot of money? And you know what? They don't say they didn't receive the money, this middle person. So the money is with this middle person hanging there waiting for me to tell them that I've just to confirm, and I don't know why I should confirm and send them pictures that I've paid. It does not make any sense.
Okay, Muvango, I'm trying to understand. Had you registered a company with
Yes,
CPS?
I've got a company.
Okay.
Yeah,
were you filing your returns annually?
Yes, I paid the returns annually, but for the last 2 years, because of their own problems, when I tried to call this middle person, I couldn't find that middle person, and I said, no, I've paid. Here is the receipt. It proves that I've paid. Then there's no problem. No,
but who's the middle person that you're talking about, Muvango? I'm not aware of 100 Rand fee that you have to pay. Once you've registered your company. What you need to do is that you need to keep filing your documents annually to avoid deregistration. So the middle person I'm not aware of, unless, of course, you bought the company like from a second party, like your shelf companies or whatever. But the middle person, I'm not sure who your middle person is, Muvango.
Maybe that's where the problem is, which I was not aware of, because I bought it from the shelf.
Okay. I understand what's wrong, Muvango. Don't worry, it's not a big problem to resolve. Let me put you over to the producers. Okay. We'll get you in touch with people that will be able to assist you, Muvango out in Limpopo. Yeah, and it's such a simple issue to resolve, but certainly, you can open an account for yourself on CIPC and actually try and manage that directly. Okay, it's 10 o'clock, time for your latest news update.
In our top stories, overcrowding in correctional centres in the spotlight, and Ramaphosa consulting relevant stakeholders regarding Masimola's summons. Good morning. The Department of Correctional Services says the challenge of overcrowding in the country's correctional centres is growing annually. Deputy Correctional Services Minister Lindiwe Nchalinchali said this in Parliament during a debate on the status of overcrowding in prisons. The debate, called by ANC MP Samuel Muela, was on addressing overcrowding in South African correctional centres as a human rights imperative. Nchalinchali says the number of inmates is far more than the number of beds available.
Our correctional facility has housed 168,680 inmates against the approved bed space of 107,067, resulting in an occupancy level of 158% and overcrowding of 58%.
President Cyril Ramaphosa says he is consulting relevant stakeholders about the summons issued to the National Police Commissioner, General Fani Masemola. Masemola has been issued with a summons to appear in court on the 21st of April over the 360 million rand SAPS Health Services contract awarded to alleged cartel kingpin Vuzumuzi Cat Mohlahlana. Mohlahlana's Medicare 24 Tshwane District Company's tender was cancelled in May last year after it was flagged for procurement irregularities and underperformance. 12 senior police officers, including generals, appeared in the Pretoria Magistrates Court on Wednesday on corruption, fraud and money laundering charges related to the contract. Ramaphosa said he will soon provide an update on the matter.
I am having conversations with the various people who are involved in the security cluster, and we will be making an announcement soon about what I am going to do. So it will be coming soon. Watch this space.
ANC First Deputy Secretary Nomvula Mokonyane has called on the delegates attending the Mpumalanga Elective Conference to discuss issues aimed at changing people's lives. She says the party was forced to form the government of national unity because of a reduced majority after the 2024 general elections. Mokonyane says it was punishment because the party left people behind. She challenged the delegates to work hard and ensure that the ANC emerge victorious in the upcoming local government elections.
Here in Mpumalanga, you must go and look for almost 2 million young people who are disaffected, who are not interested to participate. And the young people are not the young people of 18 to 35, the Youth League up to 30, it's up to 47. Even laba abaploma estrateni, locate them in their communities, understand what are their issues, help them to get the job opportunities, expose them to skills opportunities, and take them along on voting day.
The city of Johannesburg will this morning embark on a massive services disconnection drive targeted at government departments and entities. This is part of the city's efforts to recover 1.4 billion rand, which is owed by government and its entities. The city says as the financial year end looms, it's aware that some departments may be set to return unspent funds back into the fiscus, but this should only be a consideration after settling of municipal debt owed to them. City of Johannesburg's Nkosana Lekocholo.
The disconnection follows continuing efforts by the city to resolve government debt issues through established intergovernmental channels, but the reality has seen the debt growing in recent times. The city will have its doors remain open for intergovernmental coordination, but the situation cannot be allowed to impact negatively on service delivery to residents any longer. Government departments, like any other customer in the city, must prioritize settlement of their municipal accounts. They must pay their bills in full and on time. Failure to meet their obligations leave the city with no choice but to disconnect services.
And finally, a group of British MPs has warned that the country must rely less on the United States for security. A parliamentary report on national security strategy says Britain should prepare for a time when Europe might no longer be able to rely on American support. The BBC's Paul Adams has the details.
This report asks some now familiar questions. Is the UK doing enough to adjust to a new reality in which the US has a reduced security presence in Europe? Are we too dependent on American intelligence and military capabilities? And should we be getting ready for what the report calls a worst-case scenario in which Europe can no longer rely on US support? The report says strategic collaboration with the US should continue where practical, but that the UK and its European allies must develop a clear plan for a transition towards greater European leadership of NATO.
Recapping the top story, the Department of Correctional Services say the challenge of overcrowding in the country's correctional centres is growing annually. For SAFM News, I am Anne Musa.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide. Leading the conversation.
SABC2 is bringing the heat. New shows, new faces, and stories that hit home like the one I'm in. It's called Pimville, and that's where you can catch me, Gege Mputi, every Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. sharp. Live in every beat, the pulse of SA.
As we celebrate 90 years of existence, SAFM takes you back to the voices that shaped a nation.
Now leave the SABC and see the tower block lit up, 27 stories of light. Move from Auckland Park into the shadow of the Hillbrow Post Office Tower.
This is the English service of the SABC. Here is the news read by Patricia Carr. A member of the Planning Committee of the President's Council, Mr. Nick Turnich, has been appointed chairman of the Council's Community Relations Community.
90 years of trusted voices. This is SAFM.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
It's 9 after 10 o'clock. Welcome to the second hour of the show. Coming up in this hour, we're going to be focusing on the repatriations and reburials that have taken place of 63 Khoi and San people in the Northern Cape, and just looking at the significance of the moment for the country, but also what this could mean for other communities in the same situation who are still in the fight to have either their loved ones, either members of their communities repatriated back home. So we'll be getting into that story shortly. For now, let's start off with the WhatsApp voice notes from the open line.
Hello, good morning, Cathy. It's Nora here in Heidelberg. Oh, thank you so much for that opening motivation. I truly need it. I'm 49 years old and I've just started my driving lessons. It's been so difficult, because I've never driven a car in my life. So I'm really starting from zero. It's been really hard. I have a small business, so I really need a car because I'm relying on other people, to get things done. So that is why I've taken on this. Yeah, this is a great motivation. I'm going to push on until I pass. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Goodbye.
Cathy, good morning. Good morning, Cathy. Cathy, speaking of the Badlanga Commission about the Sergeant Kunkosi and the arrests which have just happened 2 days ago. Cathy, I can only be convinced when I see the big fish going to the courts, going to jail, being convicted. Otherwise, this Madlanga Commission will make no sense. Cathy, the greatness of the people who were doing all this, including the Cathy Mohlahlana and his cahoots, it makes me angry, Cathy. Their children just go to Eastern Cape. When there's water, when it is raining, they can't even cross the bridges. These are the monies we're supposed to go and help those kids. There are people who are suffering, the majority in South Africa, no jobs, no nothing, but people just clean giddy. Cathy, I'm not okay. Cathy Mohlahlana was like the Chief Justice of this country. No wonder where this country is going, Cathy. I'm so hurt. Andy from Cape Town.
Well, this JCK counter from Sina says, Cathy, the defiance of the ANC in Eastern Cape going ahead with the conference, what does it imply? The court has told them to hold the conference, but the ANC in Eastern Cape are going ahead. Are they undermining the courts? Are they undermining the courts? Or are they bigger than the courts? Let me rest my case for now. JCK counter from Sina.
Morning, Cathy. You certainly didn't hear it from the inquiries that Masimula had a relationship with Mohlahlana. It was never there. It so happened that in the CBS party, he invited a whole lot of people, including the generals and his superiors and his peers, and goons of thugs, including Mohlahlana. Masimula would have been in the same list of invites. That doesn't mean a relationship. There has never been an evidence where they had communicated, let alone him knowing him. None.
Hi, good morning, Sis Cathy, and your producer and all the listeners of SAFM. Sis Cathy, I like to say this to the president. How about if you can put increase on the 37, make 2,000 rand for those people who are not working? The reason why I'm saying this, Cathy, there are a lot of men in this country. The reason also why I'm saying this, because I can hear on the Mohlahlana Commission, they are talking about billions and billions that is corrupt to tenders. So seems like the money is a lot in this country. So why, Mr. President, they don't put increase? 370 is very little. You can't do nothing because grocery is very expensive, electricity as well, and also transport. That is my concern here from Cape Town.
Good morning, Cathy. Cathy, my name is Elchi Magaga. I was involved in an accident in 2024. The case was referred to, I went to Sharpeville police station, but the cop that was supposed to interview from the 29th of July last year has not done so. I've been phoning the police station without any success. Hence, I don't have confidence in the cops, the current one and the former ones, because they are corrupt. They don't service the people that they're doing. Even on that day, there were 4 vans, but I had to wait from 9 o'clock to 3:30. And I'm 67 years old, and I'm using my own transport. Thank you very much. LG Magaga in the Eastern.
Good morning, Auskethy, Lennon Hoyri. Auskethy, you know what? I agree with Ronald 100%. This is just another way to distract us from what we are actually looking at and what we have had so far from the Mohlahlana Commission. Why not arrest Sevilla? Why not arrest Julius Mkwanas? Why not arrest Sinono? Why not arrest Fani Nkosi? Why not arrest all of those who happen to be the people who were in front of all of these shenanigans and the drug cartels and all, you name them, and the looting of our state coffers, and choose Fani Masemola? They just want to distract us, because they are also implicated. Those who arrested him, they are also implicated. So they want to shift the goalposts. Lennon.
Cathy Mohlahlana on SAFM.
Well, let's go straight into our conversation for this hour. President Cyril Ramaphosa making comments speaking at the repatriation and reburial of 63 Khoi and San people in the Northern Cape, emphasizing the need to not only have these processes of reburial, but also that they must be followed by redress. These remains were unethically removed from their graves more than a century ago. The reburial took place at Kinderley near Steenkop in the Northern Cape. Speaking at that reburial, the president saying that the ceremony forms part of healing the past.
When these remains were taken away, they were not just being taken away, they were being stolen. So a theft was committed here. They were being taken away without the consent of the families of all these people. We also need redress, and I therefore call upon us and the Antarian Museum and the people of Scotland and the government of Scotland to start working with us on what we call redress and reparations. That is what we must do.
To talk to us about the significance of this process and perhaps also to give us a historical context, we're joined by Dr. Sharon Gabby. She's an anthropologist and a postdoctoral fellow at the Nelson Mandela University. Dr. Gabby, good morning to you. Thank you for your time this morning.
Good morning, Cathy. Good morning to the listeners, and good morning, Kaishes, to all the leaders of the Khoi and San listening. Thank you.
Brian Minis is Deputy Chairperson of the Northern Cape Task Team. He was also part of the delegation that travelled to Glasgow to collect the remains. Brian, good morning.
Good morning, Cathy, and a warm Kalahari greetings to all the listeners of SAFM.
And Professor Musa Tulu is an African historian and cultural analyst. Professor Tulu, good morning to you.
Good morning, Cathy. Good morning to my colleagues. and good morning to your listeners.
Sharon, when we look at the language that is used in describing and in connection with the story, it is unequivocal in terms of the fact that there is a crime that has been committed here. And I want us to start there. As I also position this idea of the criminality that took place, I want to read just a portion of a piece written by one of our eminent editors, Matata Tsedu, in a piece that he wrote attending this memorial. He says, stripped of their humanity, their skeletal remains were dug up, stolen, and taken to Europe under the guise of pseudoscience, but most probably also as trophies of conquest. That is quite layered. What is the story behind why these remains ended up anywhere else other than where they should have been when they were laid to rest?
Thank you for the question, Cathy, and for highlighting the issue. I would say, and I want to start here, that as anthropologists, our history and the discipline does not have a very good face to look at. But since the 1980s, this has changed. So what anthropology is currently doing is looking at the fact of how the body is viewed, how we understand the body and what happens to the body. And when we come to the end of our lives, what happens to your body? So we know that there is a burial process taking place. Different cultures perform different burial rites, but specifically within the groups of the Khoi and the San, there was burials that happened where people used to dig the hole and wrap the body in animal skin and then place the body there in that hole. So that body becomes one with the land, and what remains are the bones of the people. Now, this crime that happened on the lands of South Africa, where scientists and naturalists dug out these bodies to understand who these people are and what the lives of these people are about. That is the crime of the colonial structures. That's the power that they held and the power that was forced down upon people, disturbing the soul. Because when that person was buried, that person's soul rested in that place. And the science and understanding naturalists found it in their wisdom relevant at the time to dig out these people and disturbing the souls of these people and taking them into museums and for displays and showing the power that the colonial structures hold.
Do we have any idea how extensive this may have been?
Records shows us that we don't have, and I do speak under correction here. We don't have the database of where these bodies are and in which museums they are. So that is what the work of the task team would be, that has been established with this current process, would be to do much more research and in these different museums find out who are our people the people belonging to the land of what's called South Africa, to bring them back home. Because anthropologically, from an anthropological perspective, these bones are calling out to be reburied in the land that they know, in the land where they were taken from. But we don't really know. So for the task team, there's a lot of work. We know of previous repatriations. The one was with Sarah Bartman, and also with David Steerman, there was a spiritual repatriation because they could not find the bones. They knew that he was in Austria, but they could not find the exact place where the bones were. But where they went, they estimated where that grave would have been, where he fell and where he died. And then a spiritual repatriation happened for David Steerman. And that is the significance of why we do repatriations, because those are the souls calling out to be home. Thank you.
Brian, you know, as a country, we are now sort of 30 plus years or going into 30 plus years of our democracy. And if one looks generally, globally, there has been a buying into, you know, this idea of democracy. Whether or not it's practice, I guess, is something else. But by and large, that seems to be with these global consensus or alignment, perhaps might be the better phrase. One would think that with the post-colonial reality of what has shaped the world to be what it is today, countries whose forefathers were at the forefront of driving colonialism, that they would be the first ones to come forward and want to correct some of these injustices of the past and bring forth, whether it's bones, whether it's artifacts, whether it's any other materials that have been taken out of countries as part of that colonial conquest, that they would actually be offering up these to lead these processes. But my understanding of it is that that's not quite the experience, and that it's actually very difficult to begin the process of repatriations from museums or art centers or wherever else these remains might be.
Yes, Cathy, it is something that I think our government, through their repatriation policies, also needs to address. But to answer your question, I for one thank the Hunterian Museum for taking lead, because in 2022 they began the process to say to Ezekiel, hey guys, we have human remains there in Scotland which we want to return because it is not of ours. So what the president said in his speech was that to keep those human remains there is a fault. That's a fault. To say sorry is a fault, is good, but to keep it there is a more greater fault. So we also wish to say to these institutions that there's this famous Scottish saying that goes that, oh, you'll talk the high road and I'll take the low road. For how many years have our ancestors taken that low road? For how many years have our cultures, like for instance and I'm now bringing it home to you, the Sotho Tswana culture, for how many years have their artifacts been there? And when I speak to Limpopo and the greater Venda, I'm speaking about the red drum, and I don't want to make it a political thing, because this is a spiritual object that is being used by the people in spiritual events, because that is who we are. We are a spiritual people, and although our human remains and our artifacts have been robbed of us and have been placed in these institutions, in museums all around the UK and all around the world, our souls have been taken away from us as Africans. And we need to repatriate this, because these are objects of who we are as a people. And it can't be a political debate of, is it ours or not? It is ours. And they have built their societies on the basis of these cultural and spiritual objects. And they've gone to such a fine extent as to rob our souls, rob our graves, the graves that we see as holy grounds, because those graves are not just where the remains are of our people. It's a reminder of where we come from. Dr. Gabi just now spoke on the issue of where are all of these. We as a task team, and I myself am leading that program of the redress,
Brian,
where we said,
Brian,
yep.
Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to please pause that thought for me. I will give you a good reminder trigger for you to pick up where you left off now. It's 10:30. Let's take the latest headlines, and then we're back with this conversation.
Thank you, Cathy. On the news headlines on SAFM, I'm Onda Lambana, and a very good morning. The urgent application to interdict the provincial ANC elective conference has been dismissed and struck off the roll due to lack of urgency by the High Court in Polokwane, Limpopo. The court says the applicant, Basil Mabasa, did not follow the internal party processes to seek dispute resolution. The Department of Correctional Services says the challenge of overcrowding in the country's correctional centres is growing annually. Deputy Correctional Services Deputy Minister said this in Parliament during the debate on the status of overcrowding in prisons. And the Mexican Navy says 2 sailboats have gone missing while carrying humanitarian aid to Cuba. It has launched a search and rescue operation. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Taking a look at your markets this morning, the rand is currently trading at 17 rand 10 to the dollar, 22 rand 75 to the pound, and 19 rand 70 to the euro. That's 19 rand 70 to the euro. Asian markets were mainly higher at the closing bell. The JSE is red across the board during mid-morning trade. European markets are trading weaker this hour. Gold is trading at $4,445, platinum $1,876 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $108.80 a barrel.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
You're listening to the conversation on... You're listening to the Talking Point, rather, as we lead conversations that move us. We're focusing on the repatriation and reburial of 63 Khoi and San people in the Northern Cape. And this is after those remains were stolen. That is the language being used. They were stolen over 100 years ago from the place where they were laid to rest. And they have been sitting in museums, they have been sitting in universities and other places where they're used for scientific study, they're used as monuments and whatever else you might think of. Dr. Sharon Gabi is one of our guests. She's and she's an anthropologist and postdoctoral fellow at the Nelson Mandela University. Brian Minnies, deputy chairperson of the Northern Cape Task Team. He was part of the delegation that travelled to Glasgow to collect these remains, and Professor Musa Gulu, an African historian and cultural analyst, are all on the line. So, Brian, you were talking about your role on the task team and coming to the question of redress.
Yes. So as I said earlier, Cathy, part of my role was to do research on the redress program, and we got about 130,000 from the South African Heritage uh, um, um, Committee, and we did the specific job was to do a map of where Khoi and San ancestors are in the UK and in Germany and in South Africa. And from the very first start, when we started to speak to the Antarian, because we use the Antarian Museum as a contact point for Europe, we established a contact point through them in Germany, and they assisted us greatly in contacting these institutions. So when these institutions started to talk to us, it was a sense of they want this to happen. They want this to be done. But we said to them that there is a process and our people need healing, because this is a process that's been happening over 200 years. And for now, when we speak about the actual repatriation, yes, that must be done. But redress, reparations, all of those things must also be part of it, because you can't just say sorry and then give us our remains and then you just go your way. You have built your society on these human remains that was robbed, that was grave robbed. They were lying in their graves, and you built your archaeology and scientific research centers, which lead the world in scientific research on our misery, on our human remains, on my ancestors' human remains. So we said to them from the start, you need to assist our youngsters to build our own institutions that will train our youngsters to tomorrow become better researchers and anthropologists and archaeologists. So I applaud President Ramaphosa for telling the world that it is not enough to say sorry, but it is more than their moral obligation to do reparations and to assist us as the child of the Red Kalahari to go to Scotland and get education and assist us in helping our societies to build ourselves.
Professor Kulu, in order to do that, and I believe genuinely so, there would need to be a full acknowledgement of just how destructive colonialism was and how even today people are still living with the effect of what colonialism has done to societies, ours included.
Yes, no, that's true, Katie, and the listeners and colleagues there. Colonialism started around the 1400s and ended in the middle of the 1900s. So it's a 500-year kind of period. What has happened in acknowledgement of that, because it expressed itself in various formats. One of those was slavery. I mean, hundreds of millions of Africans were taken out of the continent to around the world, the Americas especially, and Europe, where they were forced into hard labor. Now, what Ghana has done, for example, now is approached the United Nations to create a framework and a resolution that says slavery and in all its forms was a crime against humanity, and therefore the issue of reparations come in there, because there must be a framework for reparations now that it's recognized in the United Nations, by the United Nations, as well as also the State of Africa diaspora, there's going to be a context now in which you can then look at reparations for all these practices. However, at that time, scientists were, and I'm not talking about today, but at that time, scientists and educated people were part of their states, and it became important for those states that were practicing colonialism in its many formats to study the mindset of those that they were colonizing. There was a belief at the time that African people were slightly below par in terms of intellectually, and their minds had to be studied so that, because the thinking was that Africans were slightly higher than baboons and monkeys, but then they walk like human beings and so on, and the scientists were trying to unpack that for their governments so that the mindset of African people could be changed to accept slavery and all sorts of colonialism and oppression. That was the science of the time. But what has happened of late is that many countries, and if you go to Europe, you'll find that artifacts from Africa, there are more artifacts from cultural artifacts from Africa in European states and museums than they are on the continent. So you can see the extent of it. Yes. Trophies of conquest, yes, but the most important thing was also to study the mind scientifically of the African, so as to be able to locate, make colonialism scientific and even sometimes even biblical. So it was a very complex but highly funded endeavor by the colonizers to ensure that colonialism is extended and sustained. And you cannot, unless you study the mindset and you reformulate it of a people, it's not possible to oppress a people for 500 years without them rebelling. So that was the aim of it all. Many European countries now are slightly, very much ashamed of that past. And maybe South Africa should join that United Nations movement to declare all of these things as crimes against humanity, so that within that framework of the United Nations, reparations can happen. That's the way I look at it now.
Prof, that shame, rightfully so, because even just hearing you, talk about it, the one thing that stands out is just how dehumanizing all of this was, because the approach was that these are less than human beings. So in your view, why is it still a struggle to have some of these bones, remains, whatever it is that was taken, repatriated back to countries like South Africa and other countries, because we, of course, are not the only ones?
Well, it's also sometimes about national asset registers, because museums around the world are a kind of witness to the past. Now, if a nation, a people, like in Africa, suddenly are not very clear about their past because all artifacts are in Europe, inferiority becomes in the mind of the oppressor confirmed, because the history of a people is what forms the foundations of their identity. And their identity is what forms the foundations to resist any forms of encroachment from outside. If the identity is erased, people become very weak and can accept anything, any script that is written from anywhere in terms of their history. And I think the European countries and all of those were very clear on that. We will write their history. We will erase their history in their minds and rewrite it in such a way that when they go to school, they read about them as an inferior people. Now, as I say, what has happened in the 21st century and maybe in the late 20th century is that scientists they then started something that is called ethical considerations in your research. When you conduct research now, it's at universities, it's compulsory to look at ethical issues so that you don't dehumanize, for example, as in the human sciences, in the humanities, anthropology, etc. You don't dehumanize your subjects of inquiry, but you study them with the intention to empower them as well. So the way we look at science now and scientific studies has become liberated compared to how it was in those 500 years of colonialism and slavery.
Sharon, I want to come back to you. The idea that these would even form part of national asset registers when they are not and should never have been considered the assets of those countries. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Thank you, Cathy. As I was thinking about this, when these graves were dug up and people were taken, because now we're concentrating on the human remains, and people were taken to these other lands. Spiritually, there was that voice that kept on speaking. We are part of the South African nation. We are part of the national asset of South Africa. So wherever we go, this is why we've got passports to identify us. When these people were taken, they were taken as objects out of the land. Taken out of the land as an object to become part of another country's progress and wealth creation and whatever it is that was happening in that space. Now, to bring them back and to make them part of us, that significance is what I observed when I was attending the reburial. It was them, when they went away as these objects, and when we rehumanize them back to the land, making them part of us, that significance is what I would say we should take away from what happened. And for the other groups, for in the other spaces, wherever we find and we know it should be a fierce activism that we have to bring our people back, to make them part of the nationality of the African continent, in particular in South Africa, the land where they've been taken from.
Brian, tell us about why this is so significant and why it matters so much. Because you could easily be repatriating them to do the same, right? To say they shouldn't be in European museums, but they should be in South African museums.
Yeah, thank you, Cathy, for that question. I think it's very important, and it is a very important question. We said from the start that
Hello, Brian. All right, it looks like we're having a connection issue with Brian. Let's do this. I'm going to take a quick break and then we're back with this conversation.
Investing shouldn't feel risky. It should give you security and good returns. Earn up to 7.25% interest per annum with an ABSA Cash Invest Tracker for an investment of 100,000 rands or more. Your capital is guaranteed with immediate access to your funds. That's minimum risk, maximum benefit. ABSA Private Banking customers can invest from just R1. Open via the ABSA Banking app, a branch, a private banker, or 0860 111 515. Your story matters. ABSA is an authorized financial services provider. T's and C's apply.
This Human Rights Month, we commemorate a significant milestone, the Bill of Rights at 30, making human dignity real. For 3 decades, South Africa's constitution has been a beacon of equality, freedom and justice for all. Yet dignity is not just written in our constitution, it must be lived, protected and upheld every single day. Join SAFM as we unpack the issues that matter, elevate voices driving change, and reflect on the progress we've made while confronting the work that still lies ahead. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
Hashtag SAFM Talking Point.
We continue the conversation on the talking point, and we're looking at the story around the reburial of 63 Khoi and San people, Nama people, who have recently been reburied out in the Northern Cape in Kindele near Steenkopf. We're joined by Dr. Sharon Gabi, Brian Minis, and Professor Musa Gulu for this conversation. So, Prof, while we wait to reconnect with Brian, maybe if you can give us your own reflections on the significance of the repatriations and why South Africa needs to do this.
Thank you very much, Cathy. Yes, the history of the repatriation project in South Africa starts with the Nelson Mandela presidency. I think the first cabinet memo on that was delivered to cabinet sometime in 1998 and was then accepted by cabinet and became a policy. That's why when Doc spoke about Sarah Patman, etc., it was in that framework. They were called special projects within the Department of Arts and Culture. Now, it becomes important what the Doc has said, the issue of spirituality and the completeness of human being through the body and the spirit. It is believed generally in Africa that the spirit never gets to rest until the body rests. So you could imagine that as a result of that belief, when the bodies were dug out, maybe the spirit was already trying to rest, and then the bodies are dug out and taken to Europe. The kind of generational instability as spirits, cry and look for their bodies for generations, is very easy to dislodge a people by separating the body and spirit upon death and making sure that there is restlessness in everything and anything that they do. And I think that was the problem with the entirety of the exercise. So getting them back to rest in their original land could bring about stability among the families that the generations that came after them until now. So it's a very important kind of step to do, the completeness at death, that the spirit can now rest. Otherwise, the spirit can be quite problematic if it's not resting.
Brian, I understand you're back on the line. Good morning again.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Yeah, if you can continue for us on what this means, in particular for your community in the Northern Cape.
Well, what it means for my community, Cathy, it is more than just the return of ancestral remains. It's the return of their dignity. Now they know that they belong in the bigger picture of the Rainbow Nation. That we can now say that for many years that we have been in the desert, now we are in an oasis where we are being reunited with who we are as a people, and a people of belonging, a people that now can look forward to bury the past and focus on the future, a future where our children will also be on the world stage, having education that is not limited only to a certain country, but now we can go and say to the rest of the world, we are South African, because our ancestors means so much to us. It is not just, as I said, their mortal remains that we are yearning for and seeking for, but of belonging. That sense of belonging for our Khoi and San people has been a cry for many years. And now, as we move in this right direction and having the support of the South African government in this process, meant the world to us, not just as the people of the Kalahari, but the people who is of Nama origin, from the Richtersveld, people who are from the Griqua nation of Griqualand West, the Korana, the people of Kwedam, the Kuntali people, the Cape Khoi people. Now we can look forward and bow our heads to our ancestors to say that you are home, and with you coming home, you brought us that sense of belonging.
Okay.
Now we can say that we are part of the greater South Africa.
All right. I've got a question here from one of our listeners, which I think is quite important. Let's just play this voice note.
Hi, Cathy. Did they test the DNA, or do they just accept the bones?
Sharon?
Thank you, Cathy. That is really interesting what the listener is asking. So this is the scientific process. This is in terms of testing the bones in archaeology to find a reference point where these people were taken from. Because without that, they could not say in the Northern Cape, these remains were taken from the Northern Cape. So the DNA scientific process was part of this and played a role in identifying where the reference point, where the people came from.
Good morning, Oscar. I just want to share my thoughts with regards to the conversation you're having with your panel of guests today. In relation to the 63 bodies that have been repatriated back into the country, it is most certainly commendable. However, I feel like those 63 bodies are just a small fraction of the actual number of bodies that have been extracted from the continent, taken into these European museums for whatever purposes, we don't know. And I feel like there should be more bodies that should be returned, repatriated back into the country. But it's most certainly commendable. It's commendable to the African National Congress, our ruling party, and our comrade president, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa. Daniel here in Bryanston.
Brian, are there plans for more repatriations?
Can you maybe repeat your question again?
Are there plans for other repatriations? The listener was saying that he feels like the number is too little, and that there are more bodies out there who may have been stolen.
Yes. Well, Cathy, I thank the listener for putting that question. During our research that we did in Germany as well as South Africa and the UK, we found that there is a great number of human remains that are still in these institutions, museums, hospitals, etc. So we as a task team, we are still going to go ahead with our program to say to the government that 63 is not enough. There are still thousands and thousands sitting in the United States of America. There's thousands and thousands sitting in the UK, in Vienna, in France, you name it, in the Netherlands, in Australia. There are thousands of them sitting there. So we would want those human remains to be returned. So it is not just 63. There are thousands more, and even in the South African universities as well. So redress is an ongoing process. Repatriation is an ongoing process. And we have adopted that approach to say that we want boots on the ground in all of these countries to go to these institutions, because some of these institutions, they work on a multi-tier operation. They are not all national. Some of them are state and municipal museums. So we want boots on the ground approach to this repatriation program, and we have adopted leave no one behind, because all of these human remains needs to be returned for our people's soul to be returned to this continent of Africa.
Brian Minis, a Deputy Chairperson of the Northern Cape Task Team. Dr. Sharon Gabi, she's an anthropologist, also postdoctoral fellow at the Nelson Mandela University, and Professor Musa Kulu, African historian and cultural analyst. Let me thank you all for your contributions to this conversation, and it clearly, we still have such a long way to go. It's 11 o'clock, time for your latest news update.
Thank you, Cathy. On the top stories, court dismisses interdict on ANC elective conference in Limpopo, and 2 sailboats carrying humanitarian aid goes missing in Cuba. For SAFM News, I'm Lambana, and a very good morning. The urgent application to interdict the provincial ANC elective conference has been dismissed and struck off the roll due to lack of urgency by the High Court in Bulugwane, Limpopo. The court says the applicant, Basil Mabasa, did not follow the internal party processes to seek dispute resolution. Judge Mashudu Chua says judgment paves the way for the 11th ANC provincial elective conference to proceed. Mabasa had argued that there were irregularities in the running of the branch meeting in Malamulele, Collins Chabane sub-region, which nominated conference delegates. Judge Chua ruled that each party applicant and the respondents will pay their own legal costs. ANC members who had successfully interdicted the elective conference of the Eastern Cape are preparing court papers to return to court to have the party found in contempt of court. They say proceeding with the conference is in violation of the court order issued yesterday. The High Court in East London ruled that the conference cannot go ahead until all disputes have been resolved. The ANC is currently in the process of applying for leave to appeal the ruling. Party member Lwazi Khoya says proceedings with the conference is illegal.
We're at an advanced stage with regards to that. It's a simple issue that there is a meeting that is being convened after we're granted an interim order. That as long as the ANC does not adhere to what we're complaining about, the meeting or the conference must not continue. So we're here today with that understanding.
The acting CEO of the Ingonyama Trust has accused the Land Reform Minister Mzwanele Nyonzo of acting on behalf of COCTA MEC Tulas Buthelezi and former chairperson Jerome Ngwenya when he decided to dissolve the board. Siyamdumisa Vilakazi has welcomed the Pietermaritzburg High Court ruling, which overturned Nyonzo's decision. The minister decided to dissolve the board last week after several resignations left it only with four members, while the quorum is 5. Vilakazi says the minister had no valid reason to dissolve the board.
Minister is doing Tulas Buthelez's bidding as the MEC of COGTA and so-called traditional prime minister. He's also doing the bidding of Mr. Sipho Jerome Ngwenya, the former judge and former chairperson of Ingonyama Trust Board. Those are the people that want to usurp and have control of Ingonyama Trust. So they are doing everything in their power to dismantle any safeguard and structure that ensures that this organization and this institution is safeguarded.
The Department of Correctional Services says the challenge of overcrowding in the country's correctional centres is growing annually. Deputy Correctional Services Deputy Minister Lindy Winchalinjali said this in Parliament during the debate on the status of overcrowding in prisons. The debate, called by ANC MP Samuel Mwela, was on addressing overcrowding in South African correctional centres as a human rights imperative. Chalinjali says the number of inmates is far more than the number of beds available.
Our correctional facility has housed 168,680 inmates against the approved bed space of 107,067, resulting in an occupancy level of 158% and overcrowding of 58%.
The Mexican Navy says 2 sailboats have gone missing while carrying humanitarian aid to Cuba. It has launched a search and rescue operation. The BBC's Abigail Maudsley has the details.
The Navy said the 2 boats left Isla Mujeres on Mexico's Caribbean coast on the 20th of March, with 9 crew members of different nationalities aboard. It said they were expected to reach Havana on Tuesday or Wednesday this week, but there'd been no communication or confirmation of their arrival. The vessels are part of an international grassroots effort to deliver food and medical supplies to Cuba, which is enduring prolonged power cuts and a deepening economic crisis as the result of a US fuel blockade.
Recapping the top story, the urgent application to interdict the provincial ANC elective conference has been dismissed and struck off the roll due to lack of urgency by the High Court in Polokwane, Limpopo. I'm Lambana for SAFM News Headlines at 11:30.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide. Leading the conversation.
What's with the camouflage, Dorf? I'm going hunting. Just me, nature, and my most underrated off-roader, a rental car. Hunting? You could fit that little car in your backpack, Dorf. I sit in the driver's seat. Baggage at the back, chairs on the roof. The kudu is going to get in and strap its own seatbelt, Savvy. Could do with more legroom, Dorf. Go hunt for a new 4x4 at WeBuy Cars. They got great deals. Oh, shot, Savvy.
Don't be Dorf, be savvy. We buy cars geared for that big trip, geared for you.
SABC2 is doing big things, and that's why I am here. I'm talking new shows, fresh energy, and stories that are going to move you. Pimville is just the beginning. I am Mandla Gaduka. Catch me Monday to Friday at 9 p.m. Live in every beat, the pulse of SA.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
A space where generations come together in conversation that seek to spark curiosity, inspire innovation, and feed the curious mind. For arts, culture, and robust conversations, join me every weekday between 1 and 3 p.m. on The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga as we explore the stories, lessons, and conversations that guide us back to self.
CIRA reminds all training providers and prospective security officers that all prospective security officers must complete a mandatory pre-registration on the eCIRA system before starting training. Course reports will not be processed without successful pre-registration. For more information, visit www.cira.co.za or call 086 133 3850.
As you sit in traffic reflecting on a good day, projects on track, clients happy, and they're a big one too. They trust you with all their sensitive data that's kept in your outdated work laptop, in your car, as you sit in traffic. Don't let bad tech choices get in the way. Switch to tailored secure cloud solutions because nothing should stop your business. Call 084 1234. Cell C.
You You could win a car. You could win a car. Everyone could win a car.
Spar Win a Car is back. Stand a chance to win one of 50 Hyundai Extras when you buy participating products like 2-liter Coca-Cola regular only. Buy 2 for 45, save 14 Rand. Or 120-gram Simba potato chips. Buy any 2 for 33, save 11 Rand. Price is valid from 23 March till 7 April. Shop, wipe and win while stocks last. Only at Spar. T's and C's apply.
Exciting news, South Africa. SABC TV Licenses has partnered with Capitec to make paying your TV license simple, affordable and accessible. If you're a Capitec client, sign into the app and click on Transact. Next, select Pay Bills, then click Pay At and enter your reference number to complete your payment. It's as easy as that. You'll receive instant SMS confirmation. Now you can keep your stories alive and your screens shining bright. TV licenses, pay yours, make a difference.
The Friday Wind Down. Kick off your weekend the right way.
Our Friday wind down guest today is Malay, and she's sitting across from me in studio looking like royalty. I mean, you look like a queen, girl.
Thank you so
I feel
much.
like we should have had an OB at your royal compound.
I come dressed for the occasion.
I love
Sitting across from you is everything. So thank you so much for having me. So excited.
You should have warned me. Here I am. I'm wearing denim. I'm like, it's a Friday, and you look the way that you do.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
gorgeous. Malay, it's such a pleasure to have you in studio with us.
Thank you, Cathy.
You have become just, I think, one of those musicians that has captivated South African and not just South African, but global audiences over the years with your music. There's a soulfulness to it. There's a spirituality to it. There's a, talk to me about the sound that you want to capture and the sound that you are intentionally creating every time you get into studio.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it's been over 20 years now being in the industry.
Sure.
Yeah.
You don't look that old. Girl.
It throws me back every time, just the thought of it, that it's been over 2 decades. And I just want to say, I give God all the glory. It's by His grace that I'm still doing and very passionate about what I do, songwriting and performing and connecting with audiences.
Mhm.
And I think for me, right from the beginning, the intention was always to write the kind of songs that would inspire people. I knew that would be the mission. I love songs as well. So where love has been the center of it, that's where I've always kind of been drawn to in terms of writing and the messaging behind the songs. And I think it's also interesting because a lot of the time the inspiration has always been from having conversations also just with myself, trying to encourage myself. And it's interesting because then as people are always kind of going through the same things. And it's incredible how God can use your experience to help and elevate somebody else. And so that's been always the intention when I write my music. And I'm so grateful that people relate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes the journey is not always clear from the beginning, right? And if I'm to think about your own career, you started out, and I want you to take us to those earlier years, right? You started out, and then you're part of a group, that did very well, by the way.
Yes,
did very well
yeah.
at the very beginning. Of that group coming together. It was Kaya.
Afro-pop group
And
Kaya,
And I imagine that when you were going through that, getting here maybe was not necessarily as clear as it is to
now.
you today.
Right,
now that you've
absolutely.
walked in it for some time.
For sure.
But maybe take us back to those early years.
I was so blessed to be a part of Kaya, and shout out to them if they're listening. A very popular Free State-based group. In my high school years, actually, I think I joined them in my matric year, 2003, and it was the days of Malaika as well, just in terms of bands that were very popular at the time.
My destiny.
Malaika, Mafikizolo. We were the Free State version of that kind of collection of young people. And I think they taught me so much about performance, just in terms of how to connect with an audience, getting on the stage and making sure that a stadium full audience would give you the attention that you want them to give you, and all of that, and just in terms of also just Afropop as a sound, and writing the kinds of songs that would tell stories. So I learned a lot from them, and I think as it so happened, I had to leave the group because I had to complete my studies in Johannesburg, and it was a difficult thing trying to do both. And so that's how I left the group. But from there onwards, it's been me always trying to be free about exploring different genres. I immediately went on to do house music with DJ Cunis, and we did a beautiful song titled Uzongelinda, followed by DJ Kent, Falling. So I was falling all over the place in music, just, always open, I guess, has always been my thing, open to trying out different things as I was trying to just discover what would eventually become Malay's sound as an independent and as an artist on my own, and it's been an incredible journey. I've met amazing people along the way, and I've had the opportunity to work with different kinds of creative minds, and I'm so grateful for that journey. My first album was a jazz-inspired album, the Stepchild album, and I worked with a jazz-based musician and producer. So it's been colorful.
but even now, one can still hear that jazz influence in your music, right?
Yeah, no, my heart definitely. I think I always say to myself, why didn't I go and study jazz music when I had the opportunity and the chance? I think I would have been an incredible jazz artist, if I'd given myself the opportunity. But I think it's definitely a genre that I've always loved listening to. I mean, I think one of the artists that was an artist that inspired me was Amel Larue. A lot of people say, oh, you kind of sound like Amel Larue. I'm like, oh, I kind of studied her voice coming up, and so I think it's been one of the things that I've always said to myself as an artist: just explore, don't confine yourself to any specific genre per se. Be open to the music, and your voice will ultimately determine what becomes your sound.
So why don't you go study jazz?
There's still time there. The time is still there.
Hello, what was our opening motivation today?
I love it.
We opened the show today with a motivation that say it was Ava DuVernay. The clip was of Ava DuVernay, and she's the multi-award winning American filmmaker, producer, and she started her career in television at 32.
Right.
At 32. And look at what has become of that career. And all it will be doing is just enhancing.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you already are.
No, for sure,
which
definitely.
Is amazing.
Let's make it the challenge for 2026. Let me report back to you at the end of the year and say, you know what, we decided to pursue that. But yeah, I mean, obviously, life just holds so much for us, and we should explore.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't limit ourselves, and I'm definitely keen to do that. So now that I've shared it on air, why not?
Exactly. Now that you've told everyone, now you've told all of us. So we'll be waiting for feedback. You've got the whole SFM community as accountability partners.
Thank you so much.
So when you're performing somewhere, people that are listening to this conversation, they're going to ask,
hold me to it.
How far are you? Where are you with that?
I love it.
So Male, you are Lesotho born, but it's always so strange. I've got a very close friend of mine who's from Lesotho, and this is where the issues of borders becomes complicated.
Right.
Because I'm like, yeah, fine, you're born in Lesotho, but technically you are South African because you used to cross the border every week
all the time
to come.
No, I mean,
I speak to us about that dynamic, because it was in having somebody close to me that I got to realize just how sometimes the idea of these borders is really such a fallacy. But when you share it from the experience of people that have lived it their whole life, I mean, they would leave Lesotho to go to the mall in the Free State.
Yes.
Just like, I'm like, what do you even mean? It's like, no, we just go
That's
to
what
the
we
mall.
do over the weekend. Yeah. I get you. I always say I am Lesotho born, but I'm such a Free State girl as well, because I grew up for the most part in the Free State. My parents moved to Tabancho, which at the time was Bophuthatswana. So just as I was getting a grasp of Sesotho as a language at the age of 5, we moved to Tabancho. Now I had to and then my parents have eventually settled in Ladybrand, which is 10-minute drive from the Maseru border, which is why we cross over like that all the time. But I think for me, I've always wanted to stay connected to my roots high, and it's been something that I've obviously tried to do very intentionally with the music as well, in terms of trying to find that I don't necessarily have. I've tried to go deep about it as much as I can, and I obviously always feel like I wish I had grown up at home so that it would be deeper, just in terms of the language, and being able to express myself artistically. But nonetheless, I think that is a thing about borders on this continent. It's like, why borders? When we are really one people, one continent, and it's such a I mean, even on this new album that we have out, I have a song titled Bana ba Afrika, because I just kind of find myself always going back to that, wanting to encourage us as Africans to could we forget about not forget, but just accept that we are different and it's beautiful, and it's the differences that make us the beautiful African people that we are. But there's so much more that unites us and makes us really quite the same and similar in so many ways, that if we could just focus on that, it would be so beautiful. So anyway, ke Mosotho a tswang Lesotho, but ke mo Free State as well, and I don't know how to separate the two.
It's a constant tension that's there, right?
That's just there, yeah.
And you know, the awareness around it, for me, I think, has also come out of having to do work and do stories of just. So even when a community is facing an issue and you try to understand what is the problem, then you get to learn that no, this border actually it went right across a community where the aunt lives on this side of the border, but her brother, the house was on the other side of the border. And suddenly you have families that are torn apart by these borders. And so it's been a fascinating thing to get into, because yes, there's what the law says and we must uphold the rules and etc., etc. But then there's the lived reality of people, and there's that duality of identity, and it's something that both, I think, South Africans, somebody who's Lesotho born like you, but I imagine you are South African, you have a South African ID, etc., etc. And you find that happening with Lesotho and with a country like Eswatini and Swaziland. And I just think that we need to find ways of grappling with this tension, but also improving the ease of life.
Harmony,
improving the ease of life, because it already exists.
Yes,
it already exists.
That's so true.
There are ways in which people are managing that tension, but it needs to be more formalized.
Yeah, that's
I
so
guess
true.
is part of the issue too. So Malay, this is not just going to be all talk. We of course are also going to be bringing more of Malay's music. I'll be taking your voice notes. Please do send them in. That is on 0614 104 107. That's where you can send your WhatsApp voice notes on 0614 104 107. Later on in the hour, I'll also take some of your calls on 086 000 2032. That's 086 000 2032.
phetse hantle ke mo jana lovat ke mo be ditapelong tsa ka thato ya hao e bohloko e ntse isaka banglohileng thato ya hao e bohloko e mpetola setlatla mahlong a bona fela tabatabelo ke go phethisa le go kgotsofatsa wena ntate o ntekela tafole o teng ba bona e be letsogo
The Friday Wind Down. Kick off your weekend the right way.
On the news headlines, the High Court in Budugwane has dismissed and struck off the roll the urgent application to interdict the provincial ANC elective conference due to lack of urgency. Action SA MP Darlene James says the only possible solution to reduce overcrowding in correctional centres is to deport foreign nationals who are serving sentences to their countries of origin. And the Nigerian Union South Africa has sought to clarify that the coronation of a Nigerian king in East London does not seek to replicate or compete with the traditional authority that exists in the locality. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Last year, the Proteas women were runners-up in the final of the ICC ODI World Cup against India in front of 1 billion cheering Indian fans.
The new champions of the world, India.
Now Laura and her team take them on home ground with your unwavering support behind them. Watch this unmissable T20 International Series versus India live this April with 2 games in Durban, 2 in Joburg and 1 in Benoni. Let's get behind the Proteas. Tickets are selling fast. Book today at cricket.co.za. Dare to be unbreakable.
Meet Tato Makate, CMO of Koitech, proving that South African tech can take on the world. Tato, why was Telkom Business the right call for your team?
Bottom line was connectivity and ensuring that we have the right service provider.
With Telkom Business Fiber, Koitech seamlessly connects local innovations with international manufacturing.
Get Stream Connect Fiber from just 399 Rand per month. Call 10213 or click telkom.co.za. T's and C's apply. Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
The soundtrack of your life with Ernest Pillay.
Some songs take you back instantly to your first love, a road trip, or just simpler times. The soundtrack of your life with me, Ernest Pillay, is where timeless hits and forgotten favorites come together to tell your story. It's not just music, it's memories, moments, and the meaning behind this jam.
Don't you change someone by night.
Rediscover the songs that shaped your journey. Tune in to The Soundtrack of Your Life with me, Ernest Pillay, Saturdays and Sundays, 1 to 4 p.m., only on SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
Standing on his own.
Celebrating our music heritage right here on the Friday Wind Down. The Friday Wind Down. Kick off your weekend the right way.
Oh, we have Malay on studio. My favorite song by Malay is Lenna Kitlofihla. If you could just play that one, Cathy, and greetings to Malay there. Mosotho Afrika wa Lesotho. It's true, Cathy. This thing of borders, especially between South Africans and Basotho, really is mind-boggling. It's really mind-boggling, you see. So yeah, we understand, but my favorite it's Lena Kitlofihla. If you could just play that, thank you.
Hello, Cathy. You've got one of my favorite artists, Mohlahlana. She's got a beautiful voice. I was introduced to her music by Thabo Mokoele, and I never knew Rubu was Hakana. She speaks very nice English. I love her so much. Thank you. Just keep on keeping on, my sister. Wena Mohlahlana. I love your name, Mosotho.
This is Kathy Kikwenamo. You know, this Kathy, if we are talking about mature artist, we're talking about that sister there, Malay. I love her music so much. It's one of those music that makes sense to me in many ways. Like, I'm not more into like trendy music. I'm more into message music, and Sis Malay always bring it on, you know. And talking about the borders, I laughed a bit because I remember there was a time when I was in Limpopo, and there's a border ya Botswana called Groblersdal Bridge. Literally, but going all those people there, they move there about like grocery go stay lob. Just a shopping center before the border, and then go back to Botswana. Some they go to Lephalale, Marabong, buy the grocery there, and then go back to Botswana. So it's a life. I don't know if we should just cancel borders once.
Mohlahlane. La dumela. Spamandla Kupula from Eqeberha. Thank you very much for having me, Hlalele. I remember that's the name when I first added on Facebook. I think it was in 2010. You were so enthralled by her vocals, man. She sounded so great with DJ Kanyani, DJ Kent, even with DJ Cunis, man. She just kept showing up with greatness, pure. And I remember one of my old classmates from Nelson Mandela University when we used to do business management BCom. She used to sing that Enam Kichuru, that amazing, beautiful jazzy song, man, and the amazing performance she gave at I think it was a 2013 or could have been 2014 Summer Awards, man. She had all that ensemble performance with the village people on the stage, man. She's an amazing performer, man. I'm loving this new song with Spogas, man. Always a great time to have a closer woman in your music, man. Share the experiences of Eastern Cape women and how they getting ahead at these tough times. Thank you, Mohlahlana.
Tell me you're a fan without telling me you're a fan. My word. Malay, we've gone and dug up your fans here today.
Goodness. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much. My heart is so full. My tears are just here, you know.
I was laughing at the listener who says he didn't realize you could speak so much English, because to say Pakame. Yeah, Pakame. Yeah. I'm going to need to practice that one for a couple of days. So,
thank you.
I've got. Let me read this message from Spamandla Eqeberha, who says, Cathy, releboha for that queen. I fell in love with the stepchild on DJ Kanyani's Not So Far. I'd give my left toenail. Spamandla, I hope you're ready to donate a toenail. Spamandla says, I'd give my left toenail to hear a stripped down acoustic version of it. Danko. Male.
Mic check 1 2 1 2.
So the problem is you look like you're ready to perform, right? I feel like in fact we haven't created much of a stage for you. So it's only befitting. It's only right.
Yes.
That Spamandla gives up his left toenail.
Can I do Stepchild?
Please.
Just a few lines from Stepchild.
Okay, I'm saying okay reluctantly, because what if we want more than a few?
Stepchild, into the wilderness of me. Why don't you step within and experience the ultimate hypocrisy? I say one day my past to visualize, one day where I'll say Lemelekai, wanamorena.
Take me away now. Just take me away. Okay.
Oh, thank you so much.
How am I supposed to continue with the show after that? At this point, we must be and look at how effortless that was, right?
Hardly.
You're not even
My voice
trying.
is still waking up. It's still waking up.
Please, can you calm down? There is nothing waking up about that voice. Thank you so much for treating us.
Thank you,
we
Spamanda.
truly appreciate it. Spamanda, I expect a voice note, a video evidence sent to our WhatsApp line, please. 0614-104-107. I expect to see evidence of your left toenail that you committed to. Left toenail. Please send evidence. I want to see elastoplaster on that left toenail. Male, let's talk about where you are now, because you're about to kick off a new cycle of concerting. Is it a tour that you're going to be doing? But also talk to us about Ditapelo, that is going to be at the Market Theatre.
So we... and before I forget, because if I don't mention now, we'll be performing and launching the album Ditapelo at the Market Theatre tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow.
28th of March.
Wow. Okay.
Tomorrow evening, doors open at 6:30 for 7. And yeah, I am so excited to be in this place in my life where I'm evangelizing. I'm like, everywhere I go, Jesus Christ is Lord. Can we just,
Hallelujah.
Fundisi everywhere
Preach, girl. Preach. Preach.
It's something that I wish I had known and had started in my life much earlier. Because the verse that I will share with all of us today, Matthew 6 verse 33, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. This is where I found myself in my life right now, and I thank God because it's after a season of, I think, life and trials and tests will get you to a place where you're on your knees and you ask the right questions and you talk to your creator and your maker. And I think that I cannot thank God enough for the trouble, the storms that have come in my life that have put me in a place where this is where it's at for me. I'm growing my spiritual life and taking my walk with Jesus Christ seriously. And so I'm so excited to be an Afro-pop gospel artist.
Let's open the Bible study group right now on the talking point.
Yeah, so it's one of the places that I just want to really thank God for, that I am able to use my music and my voice and my gift towards helping people come to a place where they can reflect. And I mean, the music still sounds like me. I'm interestingly enough, it still came inspired the way that I've always loved expressing myself musically in terms of the soulfulness, etc. But I think the messaging this time around has been around find your conversations with God and do that more often. Yeah.
Often when it comes to artists like yourself and the kind of relationship that you have with us as members of the public, is that we almost always only ever get to see you at your best, right? Because when we see you, you're performing. When we see you, you're on a stage, you're on a platform, and there's a way in which you have to show up for that. We don't get to see the dark times. We don't get to see the struggle and just, I guess, the humanness of it all. If you can, talk to us about some of those times, because you are always expected to be on. Even when you leave your house, you're going into a public space, you know that there might be some people that know you, that recognize you, that want to stop you. So even when you're not working, you're expected to be on, you're expected to be Malay.
Yeah.
So speak to us about where then this new music came from, that battlefield, that warfare that you're describing.
Well, I think if I go back, at least my daughter's 12 years now, so I mentioned my daughter because it was also the beginning of the end of an almost decade-long relationship with her father that left me obviously shattered, heartbroken. It wasn't part of the plan to become a single mother, which was a heavy one for me. I took about 5 years off during that season in terms of not being in the public space. I wasn't making music at all. I think from 2017, at least, if I'm not mistaken, to 2023 is when I think the previous album, Lerato Laka, came out. So it was a good 5-year kind of hiatus, me trying to put the pieces back together of my life, leaving what I had established as a home in Johannesburg and having to go back home to Ladybrand to be a child in my parents' home. But, thank God my parents are still here and very supportive. And just having to find my feet again. I happened to work with my partner at the time, which meant, hence the reason why a lot of the songs are not, my first 2 albums are not available online anyway. I guess he just, out of spite, to be fair, took them off. And I get this question every single day. Why is Stepchild not online? So, these are some of the answers. And these are some of the things that I went through privately, I guess, because I am a private person, to be honest. I am one to take time out to think about things, to reflect, and I needed that. And so, I think that was one of the major things that happened in my life that brought me to a place where I understood that, I had been kind of operating in my own strength with, my own plans in mind about what my life would be and turn out as, and et cetera, et cetera. And so it was great. The coming back has been awesome. I was able to reestablish myself as an artist independently, opened up my own record label, Sam's Productions, which is where the last 2 projects have come, have been released through my personal record label, and also just discovering that I have resilience in me, and I am capable, and I've just come into myself in such a beautiful way, and I'm so grateful to have been able to overcome that without carrying hate and anger, and I'm free from the pain of that past. And it's something that I love to be able to, I would love to be able to find a way to encourage other women who might be going through those kinds of experiences that shatter your life, where your world just comes crumbling down on you, and so it's all in, it's past now, but it's beautiful how God restores. This is one of the things that I would say. I have a wonderful husband now who was the one that I should have had right from the beginning of time as the partner of my life, but I didn't wait. I didn't ask God. I didn't inquire. I didn't say, Father, is this the man that you have for me? And so those are the things that I love to share with young people when I have the opportunity to. If God is at the center of it all, and if you bring your plans to Him, He will surely cause them to come to pass. And I think that's a mistake that we all make in life. In general.
There will be so many women and men, I think, that will resonate with the idea of having your world fall apart because things have not gone the way that one thought that they would. And the brokenness that brings sometimes is very hard to articulate because people feel, no, but it's not that deep. It's fine, deep. We'll cry with you for 3 months and then get over it. And then go back to living to living your life. And I think it's so powerful that you've shared that with us. Thank you so much. Because I know that there'll be many people who are listening who will hear what you've said and who will feel that they're not abnormal.
Yes, of course.
That
absolutely.
they're not crazy. That it's not completely unjustified.
Yes.
That they experience certain things in a particular way.
Of course. Yeah.
Male, we're going to continue with this conversation. We've got such little time. All right, we're going to take a quick break and then we're getting ready to wrap our conversation with Male up.
Oh, I'm so tired.
There's nothing on the TV.
Fanas, girls, let's take a break. We are going to a one-day.
Take a break. Get your one-day cup domestic cricket 50-over game ticket at www.cricket.co.za. Wazana with It's family time.
When you train for results, you don't quit halfway. Earn up to 7.35% interest with a Nedbank Just Invest account. Access your money within 24 hours. Keep your money agile. Get money fit with Nedbank. See money differently. Nedbank. For more information, visit nedbank.co.za. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Eindelijk, Let's Connect is coming to you from the Montreux Jazz Festival in Franschhoek, the first time this iconic festival takes place on African soil. Join Penny Libiani and friend Rico for exclusive interviews, behind-the-scenes access, and the festival experience. Watch Friday, the 27th of March at 4:30 p.m. on SABC2. Eindelijk, Let's Connect. Be part of the moment. SABC2, you belong.
Celebrating our music heritage right here on the Friday Wind Down.
We continue the conversation on the talking point is the Friday Wind Down. Call us voice notes. I'm sorry. Opa Mohapi, good morning.
Hello, Mama.
You're in Tabong, in Welkom.
Yes. Yes, Mama.
Yes, sir.
How are you, Ma? I'm so grateful. Well, I'm listening now when the conversation gets on here, there by the radio. So, thank you for the day that you have blessed. God must bless you with it. Let's open happy name. Bye.
Okay, all right. Thanks for the call, Dr. Opa.
Okay. Yeah, Mama.
Is there anything you want to say to Malay? It's okay.
Oh, it's a little bit like a man. So it's a little whole lot of more doing a figure that the man makes us think. Conversation is already change the mama more. I think the baby got paid, the Muslim got paid. That's a direction of life, Mama.
Amen.
Get the child out of there.
Oh,
Get it to be close to God.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Tata Opa.
No phonela man. Inarma kakanyana man batawudutaka.
Le botla o founela ho thusa ka mathata ao. All right. Let's try and see if we can squeeze in just one voice note. I don't know. I know we don't have enough time for two, just one.
Good day. Say hi to Mukaya Wakakamo and Kasisutu se pacaming. Isin se pacaming when I se pacaming Basutu se pacaming. Dumisa Mukaya Wakakamo no studio Makavelli right here.
Now I blame Malay. If I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, it's because of her. It's not my fault. It's her fault. Malay. Okay, so tomorrow then is the official launch of Ditabelo.
Yes,
that is taking place,
yes.
And then what comes after that?
I think.
Sorry, Spamandla has sent pictures.
Oh no.
Of his toes. Oh my gosh. Oh,
the evidence?
It's
oh my
goodness. Can you see what he did?
Evidence
so,
is there.
Pamanda basically went and filed his cons.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
I actually can't.
Oh my gosh.
Okay,
no, we're
Male.
winding down indeed.
Look at the time. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Market Theatre tomorrow. I think I just want to reiterate, it's the launch. It's Ditapelo finally coming onto the stage, in its fullness. And I'm so grateful to everybody who has already bought tickets. Very few left. Please do if you have not already. But it's going to be an absolutely beautiful evening. I plan to do South Africa as a whole. We have some events coming up in the Eastern Cape, Cape Town. It's time to just travel a little bit. And I'm hoping to do Botswana very soon as well. So I think it's Malay to the world. 2026.
We are all here for it. We are all here for it. Malay to the world. Malay, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in studio.
Thank you, Cathy.
We wish you all of the best on this journey, especially this new chapter that you're starting with, Ditapelo. Can't wait to hear all of the music. Spamandla, thank you for giving us a good laugh. Yeah, is there any other way to Konse, guys? I know it doesn't have an English translation. If you want to use your calluses and your corns and your calluses. Okay, as you can hear, it's a Friday.
Yes.
There's no matlanga, there's no drama. Friday wind down, we're putting our feet up. Male, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you to the listeners. Thank you, SAFM, always for the love and the support. It's so much appreciated, Cathy. Lovely sitting with you.
Let's wrap it up there. That's Malay on the Friday wind down.
This is SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM.
Music never sleeps, and neither do we.
Ilesh makanana, Ilesh makanana, Ilesh makanana, Shigapesha majarma, Shilohini makanana, Shilohini makanana, Shilohini makanana, Shigapesha majarma, Ilesh makanana, Ilesh makanana, Ilesh makanana, Ilesh makanana, Shigapesha majarma, Ilesh makanana, Ilesh makanana, Ilesh makanana, Ilesh makanana.
This is SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM.
Music never sleeps, and neither do we.
eyonto phela isuke inzima. Hard work I am. Ngivuke ekuseni ngenza uhlelo, melela benza njalo. I hold myself impumelela. Sesiseduze nayo.
Shilo ini makanana. Shilo ini makanana. Shilo ini makanana. Shigepisha majarima. Shilo ini makanana. Shilo ini makanana. Shilo ini makanana. Shigepisha majarima. Yes makanana. Yes makanana. Yes makanana. Yes makanana. Shigepisha majarima. Shilo ini makanana. Shilo ini makanana. Shilo ini makanana. Shigepisha majarima. Yes makanana. Yes makanana. Yes makanana. Yes makanana. Shigepisha majarima. Yes makanana. Yes makanana. Yes makanana. Yes makanana.
This is SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM.
Music never sleeps, and neither do we.
mina kuyabikwa angikhathali leyo nto phela isuke inzima hard work I am ngivuke ekuseni ngenza uhlelo melela benza njalo I hold myself impumelelo sesiseduze nayo
Shilo ini makanana Shilo ini makanana Shilo ini makanana Shigepisha macharma Shilo ini makanana Shilo ini makanana Shilo ini makanana Shigepisha macharma Yes makanana Yes makanana Yes makanana Yes makanana Shigepisha macharma Shilo ini makanana Shilo ini makanana Shilo ini makanana Shigepisha macharma Yes makanana Yes makanana Yes makanana Yes makanana Shigepisha macharma Yes makanana Yes makanana Yes makanana Yes makanana
This is SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM.
Music never sleeps, and neither do we.
angikhathali eyonto phela isuke inzima hard work I am ngivuke ekuseni ngenza uhlelo kumele ngabenza njalo I hold myself impumelelo sesiseduze nayo
Shilo ini makanana Shilo ini makanana Shilo ini makanana Shigepisha machari mani Shilo ini makanana Shilo ini makanana Shilo ini makanana Shigepisha machari mani Ilesh makanana Ilesh makanana Ilesh makanana Shigepisha machari mani Shilo ini makanana Shilo ini makanana Shilo ini makanana Shigepisha machari Ilesh makanana Ilesh makanana Ilesh makanana Ilesh makanana Shigepisha machari Ilesh makanana Ilesh makanana Ilesh makanana Ilesh makanana
This is SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM.
Music never sleeps, and neither do we.
kanjani eyonto phela isuke inzima hard work I am ngivuke ekuseni ngenza uhlelo kumele ngabenza njalo I hold myself impumelelo sesiseduze nayo
Shilo ini makanana Shilo ini makanana Shilo ini makanana Shigepisha machari mani Shilo ini makanana Shilo ini makanana Shilo ini makanana Shigepisha machari mani Ilesh makanana Ilesh makanana Ilesh makanana Shigepisha machari mani Shilo ini makanana Shilo ini makanana Shilo ini makanana Shigepisha machari mani Ilesh makanana Ilesh makanana Ilesh makanana Ilesh makanana Shigepisha machari mani Ilesh makanana Ilesh makanana Ilesh makanana Ilesh makanana
This is SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM.
Music never sleeps, and neither do we.
phela isuke inzima. Hard work I am. Ngivuke ekuseni ngenza uhlelo, melela benza njalo. I hold myself impumelelo. Sesiseduze nayo.
Shilo ini makanana. Shilo ini makanana. Shilo ini makanana. She got the shama janama. Shilo ini makanana. Shilo ini makanana. Shilo ini makanana. She got the shama janama. Yes, makanana. Yes, makanana. Yes, makanana. Yes, makanana. She got the shama janama. Shilo ini makanana. Shilo ini makanana. Shilo ini makanana. She got the shama janama. Yes, makanana. Yes, makanana. Yes, makanana. Yes, makanana. She got the shama janama. Yes, makanana. Yes, makanana. Yes, makanana. Yes, makanana.
This is SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM.
Music never sleeps, and neither do we.
phela isuyinzima. Hard work I am. Ngivuke ekuseni ngenza uhlelo, melela benza njalo. I hold myself impumelelo. Sesiseduze nayo.
Shilo ini makanana. Shilo ini makanana. Shilo ini makanana. Shigepisha machari mani. Shilo ini makanana. Shilo ini makanana. Shilo ini makanana. Shigepisha machari mani. Yes, yes, makanana. Yes, makanana. Yes, makanana. Shigepisha machari mani. Shilo ini makanana. Shilo ini makanana. Shilo ini makanana. Shigepisha machari mani. Yes, makanana. Yes, makanana. Yes, makanana. Yes, makanana. Shigepisha machari mani. Yes, makanana. Yes, makanana. Yes, makanana. Yes, makanana.
This is SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's